There are a lot of bombshells dropping at Rangers, my friend. After that embarrassing defeat, a lot is coming to light behind the scenes. Here's what we're talking about today. Nils Koppen could be at risk of a Rangers sack after the dreadful Lawrence Shankland decision. 5 things Philippe Clement should be working on as Rangers struggle. Lennon Miller's transfer time will probably come, admits Lee Miller amid Rangers' interest. Robin Propper's Rangers transfer doubts revealed as the Dutchman is torn over leaving 20. Rangers chiefs personally reach out to UEFA after the latest Rangers development. If you're a Rangers fan, smash that like button, comment, Rangers greatest champions in history, and let's dive into the news. So Nils Koppen might just be sweating buckets over at Rangers after deciding not to splash out on Lawrence Shankland before the transfer window slammed shut. Apparently, Rangers had their eye on him right up until the 30th of August, but they didn't fancy coughing up the £3 million. Yeah, I said it, £3 million, all because there's less than a year left on Shankland's contract. Bit tight, don't you think? Now fast forward to the absolute nightmare that was the 3-0 drubbing at the hands of Celtic on the 1st of September. Suddenly, everyone's starting to question our transfer dealings. And let's be honest, if the season keeps going like this, 5 points adrift already, Koppen's chair might just start to feel a wee bit wobbly. Now, why could Shankland be the one Koppen ends up kicking himself over? Well, the lad scored 24 goals last season for Hearts. That's right, 24 goals in the SPFL. And this was for a side that finished 17 points behind us, mind you. Sure, Cyril Desires has been decent so far, with 3 goals in 4 matches, but let's be honest, he was missing in action against Celtic. And let's face it, scoring against Ross County is all well and good, but it means absolutely nout if you're not turning up for the old firm. Shankland might not have found the net yet this season, but you know how these things go. Once he gets going, he's like a train you can't stop. And when that happens, his stock is only going to rise. Meanwhile, we could be sitting here in January, kicking ourselves for letting this one slip through our fingers. Koppen's recruitment has already taken a battering, with plenty of people questioning the class, or lack thereof, compared to Celtic's signings. Goals are the currency of football, and Shankland's got plenty of them in his locker. His presence in that Old Firm match could have been the difference between another embarrassing defeat and a win to savor. So what now? Well, Koppen's got some serious damage control to do. He'll need to convince Shankland that Rangers is the place for him when January rolls around. But by then, will Shankland even fancy us? Rangers have got 2 long weeks of licking their wounds after that Parkhead disaster, and Philippe Clement, he's probably tossing and turning in bed thinking about what went wrong in the Old Firm. But the good news is, there's plenty of time to sort things before Dundee come to town and Rangers reopens after the break. So, what does the gaffer need to get cracking on? Here are 5 things to put Rangers back on track. Let's start with the middle of the park. Last-minute recruit Nedum Bajrami is looking like the golden ticket for that number 10 role. But Clement's got to ask himself if his system's actually working. Maybe a shakeup is needed. Nicholas Raskin's probably the closest thing we've got to a proper number 6, so it's about time he's back in the starting lineup to close some of those gaps in midfield. The engine room's been sputtering, and Raskin could be the spark plug we need. Now, Mo Diomanda, he's a talented lad, no doubt about it, but he's trying to do everything right now. He's like a one-man show, and that's not working. Barry Ferguson was the same back in the day, but Fergie knew when to hold back and when to go full throttle. Mo needs to learn when to take a risk and when to keep it simple. Calm down, son, you'll be unstoppable once you figure that out. Our skipper, James Tavernier, hasn't exactly been covering himself in glory lately. Against Celtic, he got caught flat-footed more than once, and Dyson Maida had him chasing shadows. Now, with quick lads like Dujon Sterling and Naraisho Kasanwirja breathing down his neck, Tav better pull his socks up. We all know what he's capable of, but it's time to prove it on the pitch before someone else nabs his spot. Danilo's got 2 more weeks of training under his belt, so by the time Dundee roll around, he should be fit enough to start. At £6 million, he wasn't brought in to sit on the bench. If Clement wants the team to press and keep the tempo high, Danilo's the man. He's quick, he's sharp, and he knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. Time to unleash him properly. Hamza Igamani might be raw, and he's not had much senior game time. But against Celtic, in his brief cameo, he showed more heart than some of the senior lads. Fans want something, anything, to get excited about. And watching the same old faces fluff chances isn't cutting it. Maybe Hamza's got that spark we need, so why not give him a shot? There's plenty of other stuff to work on, but sorting these few things would at least show that Clement's on the ball and knows what needs fixing. Let's hope the break gives us the reboot we desperately need. Here's the lowdown on Robin Proper's shaky start at Rangers, and I'll make it feel like we're having a chat about this down the pub. The big Dutchman, at 30 years old, wasn't exactly sold on the idea of swapping Twente for Rangers at first. Twente's technical director Arnold Brugink let it slip that Proper had some serious second thoughts before finally jumping ship to Rangers. Can you blame him? Twente were finally back playing in Europe, something the lad had been dreaming about for years. Anyway, Rangers managed to get him on board right at the last minute by triggering a clause in his contract for £1.5 million. A bit of a bargain, you'd think. But let's be honest, his debut couldn't have gone much worse. Proper banged in an own goal just 17 minutes into his first appearance against Motherwell. Then, to make things even worse, he was part of that defensive nightmare in the Champions League game against Dynamo Kiev at Hampton. Ouch. And if you thought that was bad, his first Old Firm derby wasn't any better. Celtic gave us a proper hiding 3-0 at Parkhead, and Proper looked completely out of sorts. It's a tough introduction to life in Glasgow for the lad. He's gone from doubts about leaving Twente to finding himself under a ton of pressure here at Rangers. Hopefully he gets his act together soon because, let's face it, we can't afford any more slip-ups, especially with the way things are going in the league. It's still early days, though. Maybe the international break will give him a chance to regroup and come back stronger. Fingers crossed, eh? So Rangers have reached out to UEFA, apparently to let them know that despite everything, Rangers is still the fortress where the Light Blues will stage all 4 of their Europa League home games. According to the Daily Record, even though only 3 stands are open, yes, 3/4 of Rangers, the club is fully confident that their spiritual home will do the job. Now the funny thing is, we all saw what happened at Hampton during that mess of a Champions League qualifier against Dynamo Kiev. The atmosphere there was, well, let's just say it wasn't quite Rangers level. Playing those big European nights without the raw energy from the home crowd clearly didn't help the cause. So it's no surprise that Rangers want to bring the Europa League action back to Rangers, even if it's a bit of a fixer-upper at the moment. With the official word from the club saying they'll be back at Rangers for domestic games on 21st September against Dundee, the real focus now shifts to those European nights, starting with Lyon on 3 October. The atmosphere is bound to be electric, even if 1/4 of the seats are taking a break. But hey, Rangers know how to make Rangers a fortress, even with only 3 stands open. And let's be honest, nobody does a European night quite like us at Rangers. As for UEFA, they just want to make sure everything's in order. The Rangers higher-ups have assured them that Rangers is still the place to be. So French side Lyon, and the rest of them, FCSB, Tottenham, Union Saint-Gilloise, get ready to face the roar of Govan minus a stand. Who knows, maybe that missing bit of Rangers will just add a bit of character to the games, eh? I'll be back with more bombastic and exclusive Rangers news at any moment. If you don't want to miss any, just hit the like button and subscribe to our channel, all right? We are the people.